So I can't speak about consequences right now. I would say that this was just 48 hours ago, and so we're still trying to understand precisely what happened. There are some facts that we know at this point, and there's some still things we don't know, and we should be honest about that. So first, let me say this is an incredibly serious attack. It's an incredibly serious incident. U.S. security services are working closely with Kosovan security services and other partners to come to a good understanding of what happened and the motivations. Here's what we do know. We know that there was an attack. We know that that attack was done by a group that was well organized, that was trained, that was professional, that had military-grade equipment. We know that the attackers murdered a Kosovo police officer. We know that they then went to a religious site. And if, we believe the Serbian Orthodox Church when it says that they came against the objection of the church using force and then in a cowardly way used this religious site as a place to further launch lethal attacks on the security services of Kosovo. We are still doing our hard work to figure out exactly how and who is responsible and why. But I would say you've seen the images of all the equipment, the military grade equipment, and the plans that have been developed and that were there. I mean, this was not a group of individual citizens spontaneously coming together to express concern. This was a trained, organized group, and that means that there are some structures behind them giving them the training and equipment. We want to get to the bottom of all this, and we will hold accountable those responsible. Well, throughout the course of the day, we were in touch with the embassy. I was personally in touch with authorities at KFOR, at ULEX, with Kosovo Police and others. I think there was very, very strong coordination between the Kosovo Police and the international community representatives. We were all deeply concerned about this lethal attack and this unwarranted and unjustified attack on the Kosovo Police and what it meant for stability and security in the region. So that's, I think, what I could say. We believe, again, you'd have to ask KFOR and ULEX to get their opinions, but my understanding of their views is that the coordination with the Kosovo Police was quite good. So I have just seen, before I came here for the meeting with the President, Minister Svecla's remarks and comments, and that's all I can say is I've seen them. I'm not in a position to corroborate them. I'm not in a position to disavow them either. I think, as I said at the outset of this, there's still a lot we don't know. And this was 48 hours ago, and this was complicated. But let me make the point again, we take this very seriously. This was a threat to Kosovo and to the people of Kosovo. It had tragic consequences. We are working closely with our Kosovan partners and with other partners to understand what happened and to ensure that those who are responsible are held accountable because they need to be. We stand with the people of Kosovo and when they face threats, and that continues to be the case in this circumstance. I think right now I'm classifying it as a serious criminal attack. The question of whether it was terrorism or not is immaterial to some extent of what we're going to do about it, which is hold accountable those responsible. I really appreciate you asking that question because that's such an important point. So you said the situation is completely different. I'm not sure I agree with that. While this situation highlighted just how sensitive the circumstances are and how fragile peace is, I think it actually reflects to some extent just that really important work needs to be done to regularize relations between Kosovo and Serbia. The United States continues to look to both Kosovo and Serbia to engage actively in the EU-facilitated dialogue, not to negotiate new commitments or new agreements, because we have a very good agreement and a very good implementation annex, but rather to achieve full implementation by both sides of that agreement. Let me remind you some of the things that are in the agreement. Good neighborly relations, no using threat against one another, respect for one another's territory and territorial integrity, respect for frontiers and borders. These are important principles. We want to see the Ohrid Agreement fully implemented by both sides. And we think the dialogue is the way to achieve that, so we will continue to work with both authorities in Kosovo and Serbia to try to advance that.